Season 3 of Hazbin Hotel is being talked about like it's going to be bigger, louder, and more chaotic than anything before it. New villains, more power shifts, higher stakes. But here's the part most people are missing. This season isn't really about Hell changing. It's about Angel Dust finally being cornered by his own past with nowhere left to run. And once you see that, the entire season starts to make sense. From the very first moments of Season 3, everything points back to Angel. Not Charlie, not Alistair, not Lilith, Angel. His absence from the hotel at the end of Season 2 wasn't just emotional fallout, it was a warning. The show is telling us that redemption can't move forward while Angel is still owned, controlled, and repeating the same cycle that destroyed his life on Earth. Season 3 doesn't start with hope. It starts with separation. And that's intentional, because for the first time, Angel isn't hiding behind jokes, substances, or the safety of the hotel. He's alone with Valentino, alone with the contract, alone with the truth that no one can save him unless something fundamental changes. This season isn't asking, can Angel be redeemed? It's asking, what does redemption actually cost? Everything happening around him feeds into that question. Valentino stepping into more power isn't random. Vox being reduced but still lingering as a manipulative voice isn't accidental. Lilith entering the main plot isn't just lore expansion. All of it tightens the pressure around Angel, forcing him toward a decision he's avoided his entire existence, whether freedom is worth becoming the very thing that damned him in the first place. Season 3 is structured like a slow trap. Each episode isn't about action for action's sake. It's about removing Angel's options one by one. The hotel can't protect him. Charlie can't override contracts. Violence looks tempting. Escape looks possible. And that's what makes this season dangerous. Because Hell is offering Angel an easy solution, the same way it always does. This is why Season 3 feels different right from the start. There's no illusion that redemption is simple anymore. The rules are clearer. The stakes are personal. And Angel isn't just fighting Valentino, he's fighting the pattern that has followed him from Earth into Hell. The pattern of survival through obedience, escape through violence, and coping through self-destruction. If you're watching Season 3 expecting a traditional redemption arc, you're going to miss what the show is really doing. This isn't about Angel becoming better, it's about Angel being tested in the one way that actually matters. And once that test begins, every single episode becomes a countdown. Not to a battle, but to a choice that decides whether Angel Dust ever deserves heaven at all. Season 3 can't move forward without directly addressing one uncomfortable truth. As long as Valentino owns Angel's soul, redemption is not just difficult, it may be completely invalid. This isn't about emotion or morality, it's about rules. Hazbin Hotel has repeatedly shown us that Hell runs on contracts, systems, and technicalities, and Heaven seems to judge people just as precisely. Angel's situation isn't tragic because he's suffering. It's tragic because he doesn't truly have free will. A soul contract in this universe isn't symbolic, it's ownership. Valentino doesn't just control Angel's job or public image, he controls his choices. When Angel performs, it's not because he wants to. When he obeys, it's not because he agrees. Even when he appears defiant, that rebellion exists within limits Valentino allows. And that detail changes everything about redemption, because redemption requires intent, and intent requires freedom. This is where Angel's story separates itself from every other character. Charlie wants redemption. Serpentius earned it. Even characters like Husk and Nifty operate with autonomy, no matter how broken they are. Angel doesn't. Every action he takes is compromised by the fact that someone else legally owns his soul. If Angel does something good, it can always be argued that it wasn't fully his choice. And if Heaven judges based on responsibility, then Angel's actions may not even count. That's why Angel leaving the hotel at the end of Season 2 is so important. It wasn't him giving up. It was him recognizing the truth. The hotel can't redeem someone who isn't free. Charlie's system is built on guidance and choice, not coercion. As long as Angel remains under contract, the hotel becomes a false hope. a place that offers redemption without the ability to actually deliver it. Season 3 seems ready to force this issue into the open. Valentino rising in power doesn't just make him more threatening, it makes Angel's imprisonment more permanent. The more influence Valentino gains, the harder it becomes to imagine a future where Angel quietly slips away or negotiates his freedom. Valentino doesn't see Angel as disposable. He sees him as property worth protecting, exploiting, and showcasing. What makes this even darker is how normalized it is in hell. No one steps in. No one questions it. Contracts are respected more than people. And that's exactly why killing Valentino feels like such an obvious solution. Hell would approve. Other demons would understand. Even viewers might cheer. In a place where violence is currency, killing your owner is framed as empowerment. But Hazbin Hotel has never confused Hell's approval with moral truth. If Angel kills Valentino, the contract likely dissolves. Angel would finally be free. But freedom gained through murder raises a terrifying question. Would that actually redeem him, or would it lock his soul permanently into the same pattern that damned him on Earth? Because Angel didn't end up in hell just because of drugs or crime. He ended up there because he crossed a line he can never undo. Season 3 keeps circling that idea. The show doesn't portray Angel as weak. It portrays him as trapped. And trapped people make desperate choices. The soul contract isn't just a legal obstacle, it's the pressure cooker designed to push Angel toward repeating his worst mistake. Valentino isn't tempting Angel with power, he's tempting him with release. There's also something important about how Valentino mirrors Angel's past. On Earth, Angel was bound by family obligation and fear. In hell, he's bound by paperwork and power. Different systems, same outcome. Angel keeps ending up owned by men who believe control is love and obedience is loyalty. And each time, the escape route looks the same: violence. This is why Season 3 can't be about Angel standing up for himself, in the usual way. Standing up in hell usually means bloodshed. And that's exactly what redemption must resist. If Angel is ever going to earn heaven, he has to prove that when given the chance to kill his way out, he can choose something else, even if that choice costs him safety, freedom, or his life. The soul contract isn't just Angel's cage, it's the test designed specifically for him. Season 3 isn't asking whether Angel deserves redemption, it's asking whether redemption is possible without becoming the monster hell wants him to be. And as long as Valentino holds that contract, every episode becomes a slow tightening of the trap, pushing Angel closer to a decision that will define his soul forever. To really understand where Season 3 is going, you have to stop looking at Angel as just a victim of hell and start looking at him as someone haunted by a choice he already made once before. Because the show has quietly told us that Angel's damnation didn't begin with Valentino. It began on Earth. And Season 3 looks like it's bringing that sin back to the surface in the most uncomfortable way possible. For a long time, Angel's past sins were left vague. Drugs, crime, chaos. The kind of lifestyle that feels almost expected in a show like Hazbin Hotel. But Season 2 deliberately shattered that assumption when Vox publicly revealed Angel's real crime. He killed his own father. That single detail reframes everything. Suddenly, Angel's story isn't about excess or self-destruction, it's about violence as a way out. From early lore, we know Angel was raised in a mafia family. His father wasn't just strict or distant, he was powerful, feared, and deeply involved in organized crime. Angel didn't choose that life, he was born into it. And more importantly, he never seemed built for it. He wasn't a leader, he wasn't ruthless. He survived by adapting, performing, and keeping people happy. That survival instinct followed him into hell. If Angel killed his father, it likely wasn't because he wanted power. It was because he wanted freedom. And that's the part that makes heaven's judgment so harsh. Wanting freedom doesn't erase the act. Escaping abuse doesn't automatically cleanse the sin. In the logic of Hazbin Hotel, redemption isn't about why you sinned, it's about whether you can correct the behavior that defined you. This is exactly why Season 3 is so dangerous for Angel. Valentino isn't just another villain, he's a direct echo of Angel's father. Another powerful man who controls his life. Another figure who uses fear, obligation, and ownership to keep Angel in line. And just like before, the cleanest escape looks the same: kill the man at the top and walk away. Hell would call that justice, strength, growth, but heaven would see it as repetition. Season 3 is positioning Angel at the same crossroads he faced on Earth, but this time with awareness. On Earth, Angel was trapped, young, and terrified. In Hell, he's broken, but he understands the cost of his actions. That difference matters. Because redemption isn't about erasing the past, it's about refusing to let the past dictate the future. What makes this even more painful is that killing Valentino could be framed as self-defense. Valentino is abusive, dangerous, actively destroying Angel. The show doesn't shy away from that, and that's what makes the test so cruel. Angel isn't being asked to forgive Valentino. He's being asked to decide whether killing someone who deserves it still damns his soul. This is where Sir Pentius's redemption becomes the blueprint. Pentius didn't redeem himself by doing something impressive. He redeemed himself by confronting the exact moment he failed as a human and responding differently. He didn't repeat the mistake. Angel's mistake wasn't silence, it was violence. And Season 3 looks like it's forcing Angel to prove that he can break that pattern. Angel's redemption can't come from sacrificing himself in a flashy way. It can't come from killing the villain. And it can't come from simply escaping his contract. It has to come from restraint, from choosing not to become a killer again, even when the system around him rewards that choice. That's why Season 3 feels heavier than anything before it. Angel isn't just fighting Valentino, he's fighting the part of himself that learned long ago that violence is the fastest way to freedom. And if he fails this test, if he chooses the same solution again, then heaven isn't being cruel by rejecting him, it's being consistent. Angel Dust's past isn't buried, it's waiting. And Season 3 isn't about discovering what he did wrong, it's about whether he's capable of finally doing something different when it matters most. As Season 3 unfolds, one option will start to feel more and more obvious, not just to Angel, but to the audience as well. Kill Valentino, end the contract, walk away free. In Hell, that choice doesn't just make sense. It feels logical, almost inevitable. And that's exactly why it's the wrong one. Valentino represents everything Hell rewards. He's powerful, cruel, and unapologetic. He uses contracts instead of chains, manipulation instead of honesty, and fear instead of loyalty. Removing someone like that from power would look like progress. Even characters within the show would probably justify it. After all, Hell doesn't value mercy. It values dominance. And Angel killing Valentino would be framed as Angel finally standing up for himself. But that framing is a trap. From Angel's perspective, killing Valentino solves every problem at once. The soul contract likely becomes invalid. Valentino's influence disappears. Angel no longer has to perform, obey, or endure abuse. For the first time since arriving in Hell, Angel would be truly free. And freedom has been the one thing Angel has chased his entire existence. The problem is that this kind of freedom comes at a familiar cost. Angel has already used violence to escape once before. On Earth, killing his father wasn't about cruelty. It was about survival. But survival through violence still shaped his soul. It taught Angel that when the system traps you, the only way out is to destroy the person holding the keys. Season 3 puts that lesson directly in front of him again, almost daring him to repeat it. Hell encourages this thinking. Hell tells Angel that strength is measured by who you can destroy. That justice is whatever benefits you. That killing Valentino wouldn't make Angel a monster, it would make him smart. And that's why the temptation is so strong, because Hell's logic aligns perfectly with Angel's trauma. What makes this even more dangerous is how justified the act would seem. Valentino isn't innocent. He's abusive. He's manipulative. He's actively harming Angel and others. If Angel kills him, most viewers wouldn't blame him. And that's the point. Redemption in Hazbin Hotel isn't about what the audience agrees with. It's about whether Angel can break a pattern even when repeating it feels right. Season 3 slowly builds this pressure by isolating Angel. The hotel is no longer a safe space. Charlie can't intervene. Contracts can't be appealed. Every path forward seems blocked except one. And when a character is pushed into a corner, their true nature is revealed, not by what they want, but by what they choose. If Angel kills Valentino, the story doesn't end. It simply confirms what Heaven already believes about him. That when faced with abuse, he responds with violence. That when given power, he uses it to end a life. That no matter how much pain he's in, he ultimately chooses the same solution. And that's why killing Valentino would actually lock Angel out of redemption forever. Season 3 isn't building toward a triumphant revenge moment. It's building toward a moral test. The show wants the audience to feel the pull of the easy choice right alongside Angel. It wants that choice to feel earned, justified, and satisfying. Because only then does refusing it mean something. Angel doesn't redeem his soul by killing the villain. He redeems it by proving that even in hell, even under abuse, even with his freedom on the line, he won't repeat the sin that damned him in the first place. And the closer Season 3 gets to its climax, the clearer it becomes that the hardest choice Angel will ever make isn't about fighting back, it's about stopping himself. If Season 3 is truly following the rules it has already established, then Angel's redemption won't come from defeating Valentino. It will come from refusing to become him. And that distinction changes everything about how this season is meant to end. By this point in the story, Angel will likely be pushed to his absolute limit. Emotionally exhausted, isolated, cornered, the contract still hanging over him, Valentino still in control, and every voice around him, hell itself, whispering that violence is the answer, that killing Valentino is justified, necessary, even heroic. This is the moment the show has been slowly building towards since the pilot, because redemption in Hazbin Hotel isn't about balance. It's not about doing one good thing to cancel out one bad thing. Serpentius didn't get into heaven because he sacrificed himself in battle. He got into heaven because he corrected the exact failure that defined his sin on earth. He didn't stand by this time. He acted. Angel's situation is the inverse. His defining sin wasn't inaction, it was action. A choice to end a life in order to escape suffering. Season 3 puts him in the same emotional position, but with a different possible response. This time, Angel knows the cost. This time, he understands what that choice does to a soul. Refusing to kill Valentino doesn't mean forgiving him. It doesn't mean staying loyal. And it doesn't mean accepting abuse. It means Angel drawing a line that hell doesn't understand. A line that says, I won't survive by becoming a killer again. That refusal is what transforms Angel from a victim repeating a cycle into someone actively breaking it. And here's the part that makes this theory truly tragic. Angel's refusal may not save him. Season 3 could easily end with Angel dying, not as a martyr, not in glory, but because he chose not to kill when he had the chance. Valentino is violent, unstable, and if Angel refuses to strike back, he may pay for that decision with his life.
But that's exactly where redemption becomes real, because for the first time, Angel's fate wouldn't be shaped by fear or desperation, it would be shaped by principle. Heaven doesn't reward survival, it rewards moral correction. If Angel dies because he refused to repeat his sin, that death carries meaning. Not because it's sad, but because it proves change. Angel wouldn't be dying to escape pain. He would be dying to avoid becoming the person he once was. And that distinction matters more than anything else he's ever done in hell. This also reframes Charlie's role in the story. Charlie believes redemption comes from compassion and effort. Angel's arc shows that sometimes redemption comes from restraint. From choosing not to act when every instinct tells you to, from refusing to let trauma dictate your response. Angel's journey challenges Charlie's optimism, not by disproving it, but by deepening it. Season 3 isn't setting up a victory, it's setting up a verdict. When Angel stands before heaven, whether literally or symbolically, his case won't be built on good deeds or popularity. It will be built on one moment where he had every excuse to kill and chose not to. That single decision does what nothing else can. It severs the pattern, it proves growth. It answers the question heaven actually cares about. Angel doesn't redeem his soul by escaping hell, he redeems it by refusing to let hell decide who he is. And if that choice costs him everything, then Season 3 isn't cruel, it's honest. Because redemption in this world was never promised to be fair, it was only promised to be earned. As Season 3 builds toward its finale, the narrative tension isn't in who wins or loses, but in whether Angel can finally reclaim agency over his own soul. The show has carefully stacked the deck against him: Valentino's rising power, the lingering influence of Vox, the legal and supernatural weight of the soul contract, and the ever-present echo of Angel's past sins on Earth. Every obstacle exists to test one fundamental question: can Angel make a choice that breaks the cycle of violence and ownership that has defined him for his entire life? From the very beginning, Season 3 sets up parallel arcs. On one hand, you have the hotel and Charlie, representing hope, guidance, and structured redemption. On the other, you have hell itself, chaotic, punishing, and unforgiving, pulling Angel toward the easy, destructive solution. These forces converge on him in every episode, leaving him isolated at the heart of the story. It's a test designed to strip away excuses. There's no safety net, no easy escape, no loophole. The audience sees the full weight of choice pressing down on Angel with each passing moment. What makes this arc compelling is that the easy choice is framed as not only logical, but morally understandable. Killing Valentino would free Angel instantly, dissolve the contract, and punish a man who arguably deserves it. It's what viewers and even Angel himself want. It aligns perfectly with Hell's rules, and that's exactly why Season 3 makes the stakes feel real, because Heaven's judgment doesn't reward cleverness or revenge. It rewards the courage to act differently, even when every instinct and circumstance pushes you toward repeating the past. This builds to the ultimate moral test, the moment where Angel has the chance to strike and break free, but he chooses not to. Refusal becomes the active step toward redemption. It's not about being heroic in the conventional sense. It's about finally asserting control over himself rather than reacting to external forces. Angel's decision, possibly resulting in his own death, is the ultimate act of agency. By choosing not to become a killer again, he proves he has learned, he has grown, and he has rejected the cycle that first damned him. Season 3 also deepens the emotional resonance of this choice by reflecting it against Angel's earthly past. On Earth, he committed an irreversible act under duress. In Hell, he confronts a mirrored situation where the instinct is almost identical, but the context demands restraint. The tension isn't about physical survival, it's about moral survival. Choosing differently in this parallel scenario is what allows Angel's soul to finally become his own. Charlie's role reinforces the thematic depth. Her belief in redemption through compassion is validated by Angel's journey. But with a nuanced twist, redemption isn't handed out in Hazbin Hotel, it's earned through active, difficult, and sometimes painful moral choices. Angel's refusal demonstrates that even the most broken soul can reclaim itself if it consciously chooses to act against its learned patterns of violence and submission. By the time Season 3 reaches its climax, the show has redefined what the audience expects from redemption arcs. Angel's story isn't flashy, it isn't triumphant in the traditional sense. It's quiet, painful, and deeply human. He doesn't win by defeating his enemies or outsmarting Hell. He wins by asserting the one thing that has always eluded him: control over his own moral decisions. And that's why Season 3 is the most compelling chapter yet. Angel Dust isn't just fighting Valentino. He's fighting the part of himself that believes freedom can only come through violence. He's fighting the echoes of a past sin, and ultimately, he's proving that real redemption isn't about survival, revenge, or popularity. It's about breaking cycles, making conscious moral choices, and refusing to become the very thing that once damned you. In the end, Angel's story in Season 3 promises to be less about the battles he fights externally and more about